Hello everyone. My name is Mohammad Haris Amin and I'm official representative at NC Solicitors, and today we are going to discuss the most important point, the most important thing for student visa approval in Australia. You all must have heard of that term, and that term is known as GTE, Genuine Temporary Entrant, right? Now, the purpose of GTE is basically to check whether you are a genuine student or not, whether you are genuine temporary entrant or not, because you are a student, you are applying for a student visa, your course is of 2 years, 3 years or 4 years, whatever, and you will going to Australia for study purpose and study purpose only. So university and immigration are going to check in detail whether your profile fits that clause or not, and they are going to go into the minor details. Your profile, your file has to be perfect if you want to get Australian student visa, right? Now, there are two types basically of GT. Type number one will be interview based and type 2 will be paper based. The university will say that we are going to conduct the interview of the student. We want to ask him certain questions that we are going to discuss later now. And if we are satisfied, we'll clear his GT, not an issue. Then student can pay the fees, get the COE, and he can file the visa. Paper based, you have to provide all your educational documents, identity documents, your assets, your source of income, all your financial documents, all your details. You have to provide to the university and to the embassy as well, right? Now, what are the documents that are basically required when you're preparing your GTE file? Number one, and it's very important, SOP, statement of purpose. That is a 7 to 8 page SOP minimum, and in that SOP you have to justify yourself, you have to justify your statement, you have to convince Australian immigration, Australian university that why you are applying for Australia. Now, the SOP starts with your introduction, with your family background, right? You have to tell them what is your current level of education. You have to tell them why you have opted for this particular course, why you have opted for Australia and Australia only, why you're not studying this course in your home country. For example, if I'm a Pakistani student, I have to convince that why I'm not studying this course here, because if that course is being offered here in Pakistan as well, then what is the reason that I'm going to Australia? There are different countries like UK, USA, Canada. Why I'm not going for those countries? And if I'm going for Australia, what are the specific reasons that I'm going to study in Australia, right? Now, there are different universities in Australia. Why I'm applying for this particular university? For example, I'm a student. I'm applying for University of Wollongong. Now, why University of Wollongong only? There are different universities. I have to justify that. What is the course structure? I have to justify that, right? What changes this course is going to bring for my future? How this degree, how it's going to benefit my future if I'll get my degree from Australia and from this particular university. That can be in terms of your job titles, that can be in terms of the raise that you'll get in your salary. You have to justify that. Right? What is your immigration history? That is very important. If you have a previous visa refusal of any country, you have to disclose that, right? You should not hide any information from university or with the immigration, right? Do you know your subclass 500 student visa requirements or not, right? What are your socio-economic ties? Socio-economic ties with your current country, the country where you're living in. For example, I'm living here in Pakistan. I was born here in Pakistan, so I have to show my socio-economic ties with my home country, right? That what are the reasons, how my family, how my economic situation here in Pakistan is important, that I'll come back to Pakistan after completion of my studies. I have to justify that. Now, these are the points that we are going to list in SOP, and we will go into the details, and we will mention our source of income, our assets, each and everything here as well. Now, the documents that are required for your GT clearance, for your financials part, that will be your educational documents, that will be your identity documents, your ID card, passport, For Pakistani student, you need FRC as well, birth certificate, etc. You have to disclose your assets. You own a house, you own plots. Source of income, that depends on the case, that depends on your sponsor. For example, your father is sponsoring your studies, right? He is a businessman, so you will show his business records. He is a tax filer. You will show his tax returns, all the details of his business you will show there. These all documents are basically going to help the university. They're going to help the embassy in making a decision that you are a genuine student, you have the sufficient funds, you have the sufficient intention, proper intention to study in Australia. And all the questions that you have to answer in SOP, they have to be research based. They cannot be generic answers. They cannot be like, I am going to study in Australia because Australia is a very good country, I love Australia. You are not going to answer these questions in that way. You are going to be very specific. You are going to be to the point. You will search all those questions on internet. You will show links in your SOP that I have searched these points about different countries, about Australia, and I've concluded that these are the reasons that why I'm going to study in Australia. Generic answers are not acceptable, and SOP is very important. Very important. I have seen many visa refusals, and all of those visa refusals are on the basis of your SOP, poor SOP, or they are on the basis of that you have not shown the financial capacity that you can study in Australia. So all these factors, all these points, they are very important when you're filing your visa or when you're going through the process of GTE with the university. And I hope this information was helpful. I hope that all of those students who have previously got a visa refusal or who are currently going to file their visas, because as you all know, from 2nd of November, from today, biometric centers are open and students are going to file their visa. These are the points, these are very important points that you have to keep in mind while filing your visa, right? So I wish you best of luck to all the students, and I hope you're going to file your visa as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.